Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Reactions Day 4. Yesterday we talked about physical reactions, and the day before was more relational. So today I want to talk a little bit about behavioral reactions, and it's actually what we're going to be talking about this afternoon in office hours. So if you're out there and you're listening and you have any interest in kind of exploring more of this, I hope you'll join us this afternoon. We meet every Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern. It's always free. You just have to register. So I'll be sure to put that in the notes below in case you want to join us. So here we go. Today, day 4, big reactions in terms of behaviors. And I thought I would open today with a poem. I love writing poetry. Now, disclaimer, if you've never heard my poetry, I don't try to rhyme. Lots of times there's not even like consistent meter or anything. It's just the way the words tend to tumble out. And I call it my poetry. And so when I was thinking about behaviors, um, it just seemed more natural to start with a poem because this is something so near and dear to my heart, because I find so many people who have these really strong or hot running nervous systems like I do also tend to have behaviors that they've learned over the years will soothe their nervous system, will offer them moments of relief when nothing else seems to, when it looks like safety truly is in something outside of ourselves and it makes sense. And so I want to honor those things today instead of doing what most of us have learned to do in our lifetime, which is to correct, to white knuckle, to shame. And it doesn't work. Even if it works for a moment, it's not sustainable because that's not what the nervous system needs. So I just want to start with this poem in hopes that it kind of captures the way I see meeting these behaviors that tend to happen when we have big reactions, when we have hot running nervous systems. So here we go. There is a protector within you who has been awake for a very long time. And long before you had language, context, or perspective, this protector was learning, registering perceived cues and threats in the environment. It learned the nuance in a voice. It learned the subtle shift in a room. It learned the silence that meant something was wrong. And it learned how quickly love could feel unstable. And because this protector loved you, it adapted, it braced, it tightened, it sharpened its senses, it memorized what hurt. Not to punish you, not to sabotage you, but to keep you alive in the only way it knew how. And so when something today resembles a painful or frightening experience from back then, this faithful protector rises again. It does not pause to analyze or weigh evidence. It does not consult logic or common sense. And it does not consider the future. It simply takes action. The protector learned long ago that certain comforts could soften the perceived sharp edges of life, that something sweet, something numbing, or something steady and predictable could quiet the storm when nothing else could. And so it memorized that pathway very quickly, not because of weakness, not because of a lack of discipline, but because the survival system learned a reliable way to regulate itself when safety seemed scarce. Today, when those pathways are followed, when finding relief feels like the only option available to you, correction can sound to that protector like danger all over again, like another signal that it needs to tighten and to brace, to defend. In those moments when relief is sought, however it is sought. Correction often sounds like this. What is wrong with me? I said I would never do this again. I have no self-control. Why can't I just stop? And to that protector within, those words feel like attack. So it grips, sorry, so it grips harder. It hides in shame. It reaches again, and this time with more urgency. But what if there is another way to meet this protector? What if we could meet it instead of with correction, with companionship? Companionship speaks differently. It speaks kindly, softly. Companionship pauses after the reaching has happened, after the self-soothing has happened, and it says, something in me needed relief. Something in me felt overwhelmed, and something in me learned this as a survival mechanism. Companionship does not deny world of form consequences. It does not pretend or bypass. It simply refuses to confuse coping with identity. It understands that what looks like compulsion is simply a survival system trying its best to regulate quickly, trying to soothe, trying to settle, trying to feel less alone. And when that reaching is met, not with condemnation, but with a steady presence, something begins to shift. The urgency lowers, the cycle slows. The protector feels seen instead of scolded. Habits that feel powerful are often built on pathways that once brought comfort. The survival system does not need to be corrected first. It needs to feel safe enough to soften its own grip. When the moment of urge is met with curiosity instead of punishment, with breath instead of attack, with honesty instead of denial, safety begins to grow. Capacity expands, not because you forced it, not because you white knuckled it, not because you conquered yourself, but because the part of you that was reaching finally felt accompanied and integrated. And over time, gently, slowly, the protector learns that relief can come not only from what it reaches for, but from being met with compassion. Softening follows safety, and safety begins when the correcting, the admonishing, and the shaming dissolve. When we start sitting beside the one who learned to cope the only way it knew how, this young, devoted protector makes sense, and it is ready to be welcomed home with kindness, safety, and a space of love. So a few months ago, I did a video on off ramps because since I have not really struggled, like habits have not been, well, that's not true. Obvious habits have not been something I've struggled with. And when I say obvious habits, I mean the ones that are most talked about on Instagram and in the news and in all the social media and in the DSM and in therapy. Things like eating, drinking, the things that are just so commonly talked about. Those were not my struggles. I had different ones. And so, one of the things that helped me really, really understand this whole protector that is within us and why it absolutely cannot be corrected first. It must be met with companionship, with kindness. And I did a video on off ramps because my subtle, yet not so subtle habit was taking off ramps, looking for off ramps. And I mean that literally, like actual off ramps on the highway and interstate. because I learned very early when I was driving and after I'd had a head-on collision, my protector, that system within me, that perfect, beautiful survival system, nervous system, learned to protect by saying, never have that experience of fear and terror again. And it gave me off ramps. My beautiful protector would say things like, quick, take the off ramp. Don't get on the interstate. And if you do get on the interstate, scan every off ramp. There's an off ramp I could get off. There's an off ramp until truly it looked to me very real that my safety was in off ramps. My safety was in small back roads. It looked really, really true. And that's how it is with any kind of off ramp, whether or not that off ramp is chocolate or another kind of food or three fingers of vodka, as one of my friends likes to say, or any other kind of alcohol or drug, whatever the thing is, or scrolling on a phone. I mean, there's millions of things we do because it looks like that is where our safety is. And one of the things I played with a few months ago with these off ramps, with my literal off ramps, is instead of beating myself up, instead of white knuckling and saying, no, I cannot take off ramps, I played around with taking the off ramps and then afterward letting myself really be fully with that protector that asked me to take the off ramp and let her know you make sense. Not only do you make sense, you matter to me. And I love you and I will not abandon you. And I want to help you. I want to help myself remember that safety is 100% inside me. It doesn't rest in something outside of me. But before that can happen, before those gentle, loving lessons of safety can even begin to happen, first, before anything else, we simply start meeting that protector, the one that reaches for the three fingers of vodka or the bottle of vodka, the chocolate or the six boxes of chocolate, the scrolling, the whatever it is that is the soothing, that appears to be the safety, the relief. Before we can begin teaching lessons, we have to begin with softness, kindness, companionship. So this happens on the other side of the behavior. This doesn't happen during the behavior. That can come later. We could absolutely do those things later. Safety first, companionship, kindness, reintegration first. Bring closer that part of you, that young protector that simply wants to feel safe and loved and met. That young protector that is looking for a friend, a companion, not a corrector. What if instead of beginning with lessons, instead of beginning with all the things that I did eventually do organically as a byproduct of safety, what if first we just stay right here in step one, gently, with kindness, with full presence, with patience. And on the flip side of the behavior, the reaching, the scrolling, whatever the thing is, whatever your off ramp is, on the other side, we take a minute and we actually honor the protector that learned very young that safety is outside of us and relief must be met and found outside of us in order to be okay. Can we love that protector? Can we offer that protector kindness, grace? Over time, that companionship, that kindness, that internal inside reflection of, I've got you. I won't abandon you. You're safe with me. It changes things safety grows. And as safety grows, behaviors start looking very different. Let's not worry about the lessons right now. Let's stay right with the safety, the companionship, and the kindness. I hope I get to see you this afternoon in office hours where we will definitely explore this with a little more detail. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 5 of Big Reactions. Thanks, guys. Bye.